Good morning, Al Ingles here, pressure-free.com. I hope you're doing great so far today. If you're watching live, if you're watching the replay, I'm so happy you're here. Uh, I'm going to share a little bit about our brains and the power of early morning or whenever you wake up. If you're on third shift, you're waking up at a different time than a lot of the world. So I guess I won't refer to as morning, but when you're coming out of sleep and when you're falling into sleep. So you're falling asleep. I call that the bookends of your day. So when you're first coming awake and then when you're just falling asleep. That's a pretty magical time brain-wise. Most of us will be in what's referred to as theta waves. It's when the subconscious and conscious are most closely aligned and connected. And if you think about for millennia, humans of pretty much every culture, every religion would pray in those bookends of the day. They'd pray to be safe. They would pray to make it through the night. They would pray prayers of gratitude. And so there was this kind of ritual, automatic thing that you would do right coming out of sleep and just before you fall asleep. And it's pretty profound because if you're putting in those thoughts of gratitude, of being safe, of wanting the best for the next day, we're setting ourselves up for a real win because it's actually connecting back to our subconscious. Our subconscious loves a couple of things. I learned this from John Mitchell, who's a performance coach down in Texas. Our subconscious loves repetition and it loves specifics. So the more specifics your thoughts are in those bookends, the more it's going to land and start to create patterns. So we talk all the time about trying to break limiting beliefs, limiting patterns. Those are patterns in our subconscious that started from in some cases before we were even born, reacting to fight or flight stress hormones when our mothers were anxious or angry or had releases of these hormones. So uh, here's a couple of things I've noted and that might be helpful to you. In the past, I would say from about 1970 on in psychology, and I'm thinking about Ellen Langer at Harvard, mind-body connection. We used to kind of deal with the mind, and I think we still do this to some extent. Like this is a brain problem or this is a body problem. This whole thing is completely interconnected. And when I say physiology, I mean brain physiology and body physiology, like the whole thing. So with that in mind, here's a couple of things I've noticed. When we first wake up, it's interesting to note what your body position is. Are you all tucked up and tight, or are you sprawled open? And then do you jump right out of bed, or do you take a moment to stretch, like while you're still in bed? There's a whole science around the stretch thing. It's got a name. I don't remember the name. My body coach knows this name, like the power of what you do when you stretch in the morning and all of that. But it actually has a lot of profound change to how we're thinking and what our brain is doing. So when you first wake up, before you leave the bed, like first notice what is your body frame in. If it's kind of coiled and tight, kind of in a fetal position, see if you can just kind of open it up and like stretch it out and just um really open and get your head back and up instead of in that tight position. That's going to change how you think about your day, just that one thing. And then same thing when you go to bed. Do you get in bed and you just kind of coil up and tighten? I will often do that. And I realized that the more pressure free I became, the more I would just like be open in the bed. I wouldn't be all tight and coiled up. So note what your position is when you're first getting into bed. Like what is your tendency? And see if you can do the same thing, just like open up and really get this especially the front of your body like really stretched and open and up. So in these bookends, there's things that we can do with our body that are going to support our brain. Just had a little friend fly by. I am easily distracted for sure. And then, um, what are those first thoughts that we're putting in? What are what are the again, what are the very first thoughts when we're waking up and what are the thoughts when we're going to sleep? I think most of us seem to be in quite a hurry to get out of bed and start the day, but it doesn't take much time if you just start to just gently open up. And by the way, if you're using an alarm to wake up, make sure it's not an alarm that jolts your heart and causes you to release a ton of stress hormones, like the Power Ranger button, wank, wank, wank. But whatever it is, you can start the volume softer, get it louder. Like if you need an alarm, that can be a thing that you can adjust so that it's not just this blaring sound, or someone waking you up and kind of yelling, "Hurry up, we're going to be late." Anything like that that's like jarring you out of sleep. If you can get to the point where your sleep is you're coming out of sleep very gently and open and relaxed, and that will just give you so much power in your day because you're not triggered first thing in the morning. Most of us are, and I had no idea until I figured this all out in 2010. Like I was doing it to my own kids. Come on, hurry up. Like all those kinds of little phrases that would, just jolt the heart. And now we're in fight or flight. Now we can't find anything. So that smooth opening in the morning, that's going to help set up your day. If you can go those first couple hours without triggering the stress response, that's going to start to build a traction for you. So as you're in your work day or school day, whatever it is you're doing in your day, you'll start to be able to mitigate those stress hormones because you're able to think well. And so you can see, oh wow, this email just came in, which in the past would totally blow my stack. I'm now like, I'm in a really great state right now. I'm going to keep that state so I can solve this problem. I was working with a client the other day. We were talking about how you need to be at least one or two technologies above what you're trying to solve. My father-in-law would talk about this. He was an engineer. He did a lot of work with air turbines in planes. And we'd talk about how you need to be a couple of technologies above the problem in order to solve it. And just by elevating your body, that actually helps your brain be able to stop the release of hormones and keep you in the space to actually solve and be much more efficient and effective in your day. So back to these bookends. What's the first what's the first thing you hear? What's the first thing you see? What are your very first thoughts? Um, I met this fellow, John Mitchell, in Texas, and he has an interesting book. If you've read Napoleon Hill's, a lot of entrepreneurs read this book, Think and Grow Rich. He has The Secret to Think and Grow Rich is his book. I bought the book. I talked with him a couple of times, and I've been instituting I call it my vision action plan. And then I took his ideas and I morphed around to pressure free the whole idea. And I'm working with that with my clients right now, which is fascinating because what we're doing is we're using repetition and we're using specifics in that very first part of our day to set up our day, but also to set up long term what's happening to us. And so yeah, I'm in an experiment working on it right now. It's kind of interesting. But here's a very simple thing I would do, and I've taught for years with my clients. It's like, what's the very first thing you hear, see, and think? And is it something of beauty? So for me, when I wake up, there's a little pine branch that I swear it's coming closer to me because I love it so much. But I look at my little pine branch and I watch its needles. Like yesterday morning with warm weather came in, the needles were very open and very shimmery like this. Even though there was no wind, there was like this just little bit of vibration. So I watch to see if it's windy. I just connect to nature for a moment, just right outside my window. And then what do I hear? Like I'm listening for certain birds. There's a robin flock that lives all winter here in the deep forest, right where we live, and they're swarming around us right now. So there were robins speaking this morning. I heard them. Last night, just before bed, I heard the wren, like the little tiny wren has returned. It's got a very loud voice. I didn't know what it was for months and finally identified it. So what are you hearing? And then what are those very first thoughts? Are they serving you or are they not serving you? So much of the work that I do with my clients, once we're gaining traction on noticing the things that are causing us to trigger fight or flight and interrupting that, so much of my work after that is discernment, discernment of thought. The thought comes in, is that thought serving you, serving your soul, serving your family? Or is this thought taking you down a not healthy path, a place that's not going to serve you? So the thought comes in, every single thought, by the way, affects every cell of our body. That's why this mind-body connection is so important. Um, and I want to say this too, because it popped in my mind this morning that nothing about this organism is fixed. I mean, even my eyesight is better now. Like according to the state of Michigan, I don't need glasses to drive. At first, I was like still wearing them for a few years, but now it's like, oh my gosh, my eyes are so much better. So every bit of your body has ability to change. And you can think of it this way, like look back 5, 10 years, pick a time. You're not the same as you were then. Every 7 years, every cell is different, every single bit of us. So this ability to regenerate, rejuvenate, to change, and to, if you stop releasing the hormones, like it's unbelievable what can start to happen for your body. I just watch it happen to myself, to my clients. It's like it's sometimes miraculous. Like, wow, this is really happening for me. So being in that belief that the power of our thoughts really matters, what we think about, and going into that discernment of, okay, so this thought is coming through my mind. I would pick a really, like, within the next year, I need a new furnace. We need a new furnace here in our condo. All right. So we need a new furnace. Now I could get tight and think, oh, that's so much money that I'm going to have to spend on a furnace. Right. Or I could be like, because I really love my condo and it'll be great to have a new furnace. Like, how can I take the one thought and move it where I want it to go? It's a practice. And again, if we can start to retool through repetition how we think about all these little things, that the smallest of little changes creates this little bit of traction. I think I've mentioned this before, but I had a client in Hawaii and who was extremely active, had a business, was a volunteer, was in a relationship, had some health things going on. And as we were working together a few months in, and she goes, I just need to tell you that you've helped me change the trajectory of every area of my life. So, if you work with a life coach, they're going to go around the life wheel and you're going to see like where you're falling short and or where things are going well, like where you're out of balance with things. Um, and I don't really do that with my clients at all. We have specific targets we're working toward, but what I deeply know is that if we stop releasing stress hormones, then possibilities open up. I don't even know what they're going to be because I didn't know what they would be for myself. So how could I possibly know what they would be for another human? When I saw so much change happen to me. So we just kind of open that up. So like I can't make any promises, but what I can promise is this is based on science. This is the biology of our psychology. This is understanding how this whole mind-body connection is put together, which is enlightening and empowering. And those are two words that to me are really important when I'm first working with somebody. So I hope this is helpful. Like what's happening in your bookends of your day. You're coming out of sleep, you're falling asleep. Um, really precious times. Really truly precious times where we get to plant some new seeds and create how our day goes and how our sleep goes. So wish you a great pressure-free day.